you going to be a slave driver today?
Yep.
That's what I'm afraid
On a
of.
deadline.
You're on a deadline?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's true. We are on a deadline. All right, let's step into the trailer right quick and show you a couple things that we've done so far. Now, in our last video, we showed you how we set the cabinets, and we do have them all in place now. We've got the kitchen cabinet in place and secured. This is where the refrigerator is going to set. It's all secured now. And we also have the bar top cabinet secured right now. We went ahead and built the other petition right over there, and here in a minute I'm going to show you with the bar top in place here in just a little bit. In addition to that, we also put together a shelf up here above the kitchen sink is where it's going to be, of course. And I'm going to show you another shelf that we're in the process of putting together right now. Now this particular shelf here has a hollow core inside, and the main reason why is because we're going to have a light mounted right up underneath here, and we wanted to be able to run the wiring for the light inside the hollow core. And I'll show you more about that on the one that's currently under construction. That will end up over here above this window, above the bar top. In addition to that, we also put together these shelves, which will be underneath the bar top, and they're set far enough back so that when we're sitting here at this bar top having dinner or coffee or whatever, we still have plenty of clearance for our knees and everything. So we've got a set of shelves there, and Deb has already been working on painting those. And then we've got this set of shelves over here. Now if you notice there's a trash can sitting there, and we set up these shelves at just the right height so that this top shelf supports this trash can. And when the bar top goes on here, which I'm going to lay the bar top on here in a little bit and show you what it looks like so you can get a better idea. But when the bar top goes on here permanently, we will have a hole cut out right here with a stainless steel 6-inch diameter chute, so that the trash can go in there, and then when we're ready to change out the trash sack, we simply just pull this out from underneath, put a new trash sack in it, and put it back in. We're also we're trying to come up with something to keep that hole covered when we're not throwing trash in it. So Deb's been looking at different ideas on what we can come up with to have that hole covered. I thought it was important to go with the stainless steel chute, and they're available on Amazon. We'll post a link to the one that we have ordered. But I thought it was important to do that in stainless steel simply because it'd be easier to clean. I could have just cut a raw hole and then come up with some kind of another wood cover that would fit inside it or on top of it, but then I'd be concerned about trying to keep that edge on the wood clean around it, since trash would be going in through there. So this is where we're at for the moment. Give me a couple seconds and I'm going to lay the bar top on here, and then we'll show you more about what's going on here. So we'll be back in just a little bit. All right, now we got the bar top laying in place here, so you can see how that will work. And of course you can still see the shelves down below right there, and hopefully my camera's getting that good, but you can see the trash can underneath there. And keep in mind that we'll have a 6-inch diameter hole right up here that'll be for the trash chute for the trash can right there. And this will give you an idea with Deb sitting there how that works with the stool. We're not going to use these stools. We have some natural wood stools that we're going to use there to go with our decor. Now we'll have a little piece of trim that goes along here once we decide what we're going to use for our bar top. We haven't decided what the finished top will be. We have some ideas on that, but whatever we do to the top here, we'll be doing the same thing, of course, over here to the kitchen sink. So anyway, this is the basic layout of how the rear galley will be. And here again, we're in the process of building the shelf that will go up there. And give us just a second, and we're going to show you how we put that together and give you a few ideas on how we did that. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, I've donned my chest mount so I can talk to you more about this. This is the shelf that goes above the bar, and this is the framework and how we did it here. And Deborah supervised it, didn't you?
That's right.
You supervised the whole thing.
Absolutely.
You're the one that designed it, right?
I designed it and the whole bit. Whatever.
Okay. Moving on. All right. And I hope this thing is, you can see it right there. We'll know here in a little bit when we view the clip. But anyway, I'm wearing my chest mount, and the chest mount works pretty good. I'm getting used to wearing it. And one day I'll do a review on this thing. I've read some of the reviews and seen some reviews, and some folks said that it was not satisfactory for large people. Well, I'm a pretty big guy, and I don't have any issues with it at all. So I'll do a review on this thing one of these days. And maybe they need to know how to adjust it. Maybe that's the problem. Anyway, let's move on to the shelf. Now, this is the framework for the shelf, and show you a couple things here. First, Deb, would you hand me the wine glass holder? Now, this framework, the way it's done is, of course, on the front, this piece measures 1 3/4 inches tall. The back piece measures 2.5 inches tall. And there's a reason for that, which we'll get into that later once we mount the shelf, and you'll see more what we're talking about there. Now, these little cross pieces right here, and of course here and here and here, and on down there and on down there, those are not quite an inch by 3/4 of an inch by 12 inches. Now, these things are set in there so that there's about a 1/4 inch clearance on the bottom, and the way we arrived at that when we were putting these things together on the two long pieces there, we laid this sure ply, these strips of sure ply, some scrap strips that I had, laid that underneath so that we could use that as a spacer, and then as we put everything in place, we use that as a spacer, and then we knew exactly where to put it, and I'll show you why we did that here in just a little bit. Now, the next thing is, let's talk about this thing here in the center. Deb has this wine.
We're not barbarians.
We're not barbarians. Yeah, she's got this wine glass holder that she wants to mount there, and I wanted to make certain that it had plenty of beef right there to hold it in place. So then I came up with this idea here with these cross pieces, and of course we're looking at the top side of the shelf right now. We're not looking at the underside, but when we put our piece on the bottom, when we put our plate that fits on the bottom of the shelf, which I'll show you here in a little bit, then this will come in and it will mount there, and we will have plenty of areas there to run screws in that to make sure that it's supported well enough. And I made like a little truss kind of thing right there to hold that. So that's what that's for. Now let's move on to the next thing. If you'll grab one of the lights, please. We're going to have 2 LED lights mounted on the underside of the shelf, and here it is right here. Got them at Amazon. You did? E-trailer. Oh, I'm sorry. Got these at eTrailer.com. We'll post a link to these too. We've used them before at our motor home, and they worked out real well. They're reasonably priced and real easy to install. So what we did here, you'll notice on the back, it has 8 different points where screws run through. 8 different points. What I was mostly concerned about as far as being a firm mount was the 4 in the center right here. So what I did here, I ran these stringers across where the spacing is just so that this will line up right in the center, right there. We want that to line up right in the center so that when we mount these on the underside, we'll have these to screw into from the underside. And then we can still run some screws into the bottom plate that will end up here, but the real strength, of course, will be on these center ones. So we did one there, and then one there. One will be Deb's light, and the other one will be my light for my side. In our house, we don't have much lighting, or anyway, the lighting doesn't work too well, or I'm getting older and I don't see as good. I don't know what the deal is, but I told Deb, I said, in the trailer, we are going to have enough light so that I can see with no issues whatsoever. So we're going to have several of these mounted in several strategic points in the trailer, is what we're going to have. Now, let's take this away and let's turn this over. And got that turned over. Now let me run over here and grab the bottom plate that will go on, and then you can see that it simply goes on there, and then it got to position it just perfect, you know, when I go ahead and secure it to it. But you can see there how it's going to lay in there, and it's going to lay in recessed and everything. I just don't have it set perfect the way I want it yet. And I did cut it just a tad a little shy, so it'd be easy to get it in. And then we'll use some caulk and caulk around it when we paint it. And I think Deb's planning on painting this all white. Is that correct?
That is right.
Going to paint the whole shelf all white. Now you can see these holes that I drilled, and they are in the center. Those two cross pieces are right there, and then the hole is right here, smack dab in the center. Can I have that light back? Can I have that light back? And then it'll be easy to see how these wires will fit down through the hole like that, and then of course we will screw them into place right there. Now, one other thing I need to point out to you that I have not done yet, which is the next thing that I will do. Let me take this off again. Put that back over there. What I need to do now, and on the other one that I built, I thought about this ahead of time, and I drilled the holes ahead of time so I wouldn't have any issues with that, but this time I forgot. So what I need to do now is drill some holes through these cross pieces large enough for the wiring to fit through that will run to these lights is what I got to do. And since I didn't do it correctly the first time, I'm going to use my little short drill that I got at Harbor Freight. This is just for times when I'm working in a tight spot, and it works real well for that. And then of course this is the bit that I will use to do that. So I'll be drilling a series of holes down through these so I can get to each light. And I'm trying to think if there's something else we decided we wanted to run. Oh, well, yeah, we got to do but that's for another video on down the road on that. Anyway, this is what I'm going to do next. So give us a few minutes and we'll come back, and then we'll show you that, and then we're going to mount it where it goes. Be back in a little bit. Okay, this is the next day, right?
Yes, this is Saturday.
It is Saturday.
It is Saturday.
It feels like Sunday.
That's because you was off yesterday afternoon.
That's because I was off from my regular job yesterday afternoon. That's why it feels like Sunday to me, but it's actually Saturday.
Saturday, we have a whole other day.
Yeah, and I got to sleep in a little bit this morning too, and watch a few YouTube videos from some of the folks we follow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Learn something.
and well, we try to learn something every time we watch YouTube.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyway, let me show you what we did. And I have to apologize. I went ahead and got the shelf. This is where we left off in the last clip. I had the shelf completed and ready to go ahead and hang on the wall. Actually, what we were fixing to do when we last talked here at the clip just before this one, I was getting ready to drill some holes that the wiring will run through. And let me, right up there, you can see a hole here and a hole here, and then the wire will have to come over and run down the center here. As you can see right there, there's the hole there that comes through, and here, and then it swings back over here. Now remember, the lights will be hanging right here, and the other one will be mounted right here. We're getting ready to put that panel up in a little bit, but I want to show you something before we move on to that. Let me step back out here. This is the wiring that we're going to be using for all of our 12-volt systems, and we'll have, you know, the pump will be working off a 12-volt, the fan in the front, and we're getting a max fan, right? Yeah, we're getting a max fan. The max fan in the front will be fed by, it'll all be 12-volt systems, of course, and a few other things here and there, and of course all the lighting will be a 12-volt system. This is number 12-2 stranded copper AWG wire. Everything that we run everywhere will be run with number 12 wire on our 12-volt systems. And just to reassure everybody, because I know some folks will mention this and some folks will be concerned, let me reassure you right now that every single connection, everywhere where we connect, whatever we're going to connect, all of the connections will be soldered and heat shrinked. There would be a heat shrink wrap go around each connection. The motorhome that we had before that, you know, caught fire while we were in it, all the wiring in that was done with regular wire twisties, you know, connection twisties, even on all the 12-volt systems. And of course, we really don't know what caused the fire, but we know that it originated in one of the 12-volt circuits. Something shorted out. So we are going to take those kind of precautions. Another thing too that I need to mention, now this panel that I'm getting ready to put up here in a little bit on the bottom, that one will be secured. It'll be glued, and then we'll shoot it on with my brad nailer. I'll probably use 3/4 inch staples, because really the staples don't show that bad. So I'll probably use 3/4 inch staples to shoot that on, because they hold a whole lot better. But I do want to point out one thing about this. You know, the wiring will be running in between, you know, through this hollow core, so we can get to each of the lights and everything. But there will be a panel up here on top that is the same dimensions, of course, as the panel that will be secured here. But this panel up on top will be floating. Now, and I'll have finger holes where I can reach in there and grab this panel out, so I can have access to everything from above. So that's the way we're doing that. This is the way it is over here. We already have this panel up here, and I can't see it very well. Deb's got masking tape around here, so I can't pull the panel out because she's got the masking tape holding it up. But you can see that I can lift it right there. So it's laying in there so that I'll have access to the wiring very easily if I ever need to get in there and service. And remember, we're going to have a light mounted right here. She's got the hole covered, but this is where the light will mount here, which will match, of course, these lights that are over here. And then, of course, when we put together this shelf that'll be on this wall, and the shelf that'll be above the TV over here, there will be the same situation. Now, one thing we did discover, because this shelf is, of course, longer than the one above the kitchen sink, it's not as stout as I would like for it to be right here. So what we're going to do, and I'll point this out, hopefully I'll be able to show you a picture of this, but there's a if you see right there, you can see right up there, you can see the end of a 1x4. That might be a 1x3. I think it's a 1x4. But anyway, that runs the full length of the trailer all the way down to the end. And then if you look right there, you can see the end of another 1x4. And then, of course, here's another one right here and here. Those are the furring strips that run the full length of the trailer all the way down. Now, when I was able to mount this shelf here, I was able to run these screws through here, and they connect with the furring strip behind. So that's how we have that going there. So that's where we get our strength there. But it's not as stout as I would like for it to be here on the front. So what we're going to end up doing, we're going to have a chase back here where wiring runs here. So this 1x that you see here, which is the back part of the shelf, there will be a matching 1x that I'll simply secure to the wall up here. And so then you'll have a 3/4 inch space in here. So this is where the wiring will run through this chase behind there, and we will cut another panel that attaches to here and this other 1x that will eventually be attached up here. We'll mount that, we'll have it set up on Velcro tabs, so that there's a false panel that will be back here with finger holes in it. So all I got to do if I got to get to the wiring is simply stick my finger into the finger hole and pull the panel off, and then I have access to all the wiring. What we're also going to do, because we'll be able to secure this 1x up here running the full length, and we're going to do that on every long shelf, we're also going to put an eyelet up here and an eyelet down here matching in the center, and we're going to run a decorative cable. We still have yet to find it, a wire cable with a turnbuckle, and it will run from up there down to here, and then we can firm that up and give that some more support right there. And we will probably end up doing that, well, I know we will, because these shelves are longer and I need more support right there. And first I tried to figure out a way to put some kind of a divider in here that guy could attach up here and down here, but really the only place I've got that's got really good meat behind it that I can attach something good to is up here. So we're going to do the eyelet or the eye bolt kind of thing, and have a cable with a little small turnbuckle on it so we can tighten it up and firm that up right there. So that is our plan for that. Now give it just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and shoot this panel on the bottom, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more. Be back in a little bit. Thanks. Okay, we got the bottom plate in. Now we need to do a little bit of filling and sanding on it, and then Deb's going to paint it. But you can see how it is right there. And now you can see where the lights will mount here. Let me turn on my headlamp here, maybe you can see a little better. You can see where the holes are, where the wires will come down for the lights. Right there. Now we've got another, well, we got the panel kind of laying up in here now, but I've got to notch it out for this chink right here. And we'll talk about that chink in another video. This chink that you see right there, it's going to have something to do with another chase that will be coming along this back wall that runs across the back. It'll be kind of like a soffit that we're going to build there. And once we get the refrigerator in over here, then we will have a shelf above the refrigerator, and it will have a chink on one end of the shelf similar to this chink here, so we can put a plate on each end and then finish out this chase that's going to run all along the back here for more wiring that can come around the back. So anyway, that's what that's for, but that's for a later video down the road. Okay, we're going to shut this particular episode down for now, and this is what you can see what we've done so far. We're still working on it. We'll probably try to make the videos shorter and more frequent, so we're going to try to work on that. It takes a little time to get everything all figured out. We're getting better at it, but anyway, we're going to sign off for now. Let me step out here so we can say goodbye together. So what do you think so far?
It's taking shape. It's awesome. It's
Yeah.
all coming together.
And we've still got more work to do this afternoon and tomorrow, so no
Yes.
telling what else will get done. We got a few things we're going to keep on doing that y'all have seen us do before, so
Can
we're going
Can
to...
I say one more thing?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry.
And this may help you with your builds. What we were doing was we knew we had to do some here, and we had to do some here, and we had to do some here, and it became overwhelming. So what we're doing right now is we're concentrating on the kitchen. We're going to get all of the construction part done in the kitchen, and then we're going to move on to the bedroom, as small as it is, and get all of that done, and then move on to the bathroom area. So this way we're taking it in stages so that we're not overwhelmed with this, and this. So I don't know if that helps you. It seems to have helped us.
And along the way, we'll be doing just a little bit of preliminary plumbing and things here and there while we have room to work on those particular things. But keep in mind, we're trying to design everything in such a way so that we can have access to all the wiring if we needed to. We can have easy access to all the different connections if we needed to have access to those. We can also have access to all of the plumbing if we needed to have access to that. So it takes a lot of thought to think about all these things and to make sure that we can build into the design a way that we can have access to all of these things should we ever need to have that access. That was one thing that really bothered me in the motorhome. Man, there was so much stuff run here and there and hither and there. You know, I just had a hard time figuring out, you know, what if this happened or that happened? How could I get to it real quick? And of course, we had a fire, so there you go. Anyway, we're going to sign off for now. This is Bill and Deb with I Ride Tiny House Adventures. Say goodbye, dear.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye now.